I have some history with it only because I was involved with the solidarity
PCAST,
work. Yeah, PCAST.
Yeah.
And other groups, you know, in which we were doing solidarity work with Nicaragua back in the 80s. And at that time, and it's a little ironic because some of the people who are now really pushing the immigrant rights things were in fact involved back then. But by and large, the movement was very focused on creating justice in Latin America.
Oh,
what a concept.
Yeah.
You know, why are people fleeing? They're refugees. Why are they refugees? Well, they're death squads. Oh, there's this NAFTA thing that's completely wiped out the economy. You know, there's no longer any farmers in Mexico because they dumped corn into Mexico. You know, it just goes on and on and on. Oh, they installed Calderon over Obrador. I mean, you know, they... Phony elections. I mean, the whole 9 yards. And yet, whenever the immigrant rights comes up, they never mention any of that. It's like, oh, they just want to work. Well, why do they want to work? So anyway, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and you're right about them pulling on the heartstrings and thinking that that's the issue. But it just frustrates me that a lot of people who are involved in the issue, including PCAST, the Portland Central America Solidarity Committee, has completely abandoned that more sophisticated analysis of what was going on for this kind of very manipulative, emotional thing. So I don't know.
I think some of it's true. They just people just want to get on a cause that they think is going to win or something. It's like the number of people that worked on the Dennis Kucinich campaign, and then when that was no longer going to happen, I mean, they just jumped to Obama, and it was just
bait and switch, yeah.
Yeah. And I think some of it is you just want to be with the winner, you know.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
I don't know why Alex Jones left out the issues you brought up, Tim. I would guess that maybe, I mean, there's so much for people who think Obama's the savior to accept in this film, that to bring up more stuff like that, you know, they may think, well, there's no truth to this then, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's like when you're in court and the judge will say, now if you found that a witness lied, you just don't discount that testimony. You are entitled to discount the entire testimony. And you know, if they see that his birth is questioned and his citizenship and all this and that, and what did he really have the Kenyan father, then they may have bigger trouble even believing any of it, you know.
Right.
I do appreciate him showing all the Council on Foreign Relations,
Right.
Bilderberg,
Oh,
Trilateral
yes.
Commission connections, because that gives people a point-for-point thing to go through and systematically Google these people and read about these organizations. I think that's really cool. I've never seen that in another documentary film, ever.
It was kind of interesting. Actually, he has done something with this, that whole scene with the Bilderbergers and being outside with Estolin and Tucker.
I just met someone going and showing who's behind a president and doing that this early. I haven't seen it done before.
Yeah, well, one thing I found in that interview, in that whole, what I found interesting, is that Tucker was talking about the CFR for years and years and years, and investigating them, and he would pour through the mainstream media, and there wasn't like a mention of any of these groups. And now it's pretty much people, the Council of Foreign Relations people meet there. It's just so interesting to see how people have found it normal to have our liberties stripped, and have this criminal element, you know, operating in plain sight.
Yeah, that does amaze me. I mean, last year I Googled the Logan Act, you know, and it's a 2-year prison sentence. Like, if they're convicted, like if a politician meets in secret with politicians from another sovereign nation and has a secret conference, it's a freaking felony. Like, and they do it right out in front of God and everybody, and it's just, I mean, I was amazed when I first read about that. And it's just,
See, when have they ever even tried?
Yeah.
You know,
right.
it's just like even like locally here, when our I mean, if gay people want to get married, hey, go at it. I don't give a damn. But when our county commission, four of the county commissioners met in private Remember that? And they kept the one guy out, Lonnie
The Mean
Roberts.
Girls.
And how he found out was from the media. He found out just a few hours before that the Mount Loma County Commission, 4 of them had passed this. And you can't meet in secret. And they did. They met in secret over and over, the 4 of them. So, yeah.
Something that was just kind of glanced over in the Obama deception that I wanted to bring up is, like, I mean, to be perfectly honest, when I first read about it years ago, it made me start crying, is that in 1933, like, the country went bankrupt. And the government went to the bankers and said, what are you going to give as collateral? And it was us. I mean, literally on your stock, on your birth certificate, there's a security number. That's how much you are worth. There's an inbred banker out there somewhere who actually believes he owns the labor potential for us, you know, or a consortium of bankers out there somewhere. I mean, that's incredible to me that the human labor potential was given as collateral on a loan of this whole country. That's wholesale slavery. I mean, I wept when I first read that, and they kind of just, you know, Ron Paul's brother just barely mentioned it, but like, I just wanted to bring attention to it. That is some hardcore oppressive tyranny that's, I mean, bad. I mean, they just give away people. I mean, God, you know?
Well, they kill people in the millions.
Yeah.
Call it collateral damage.
Yeah, I wish you would have had more pictures up there of the, they're hard to look at, but of the Iraqi people that were so.
You know, one of the ironies in the movie was the list of taxes, you know, the whole cap and trade and the carbon tax thing. And the funny part about it was, from my perspective, was a lot of the things that were being listed are items that I would agree need to be reduced, like meat eating and driving cars all the time,
Right.
outdoor heaters,
Right.
outdoor heaters.
Yeah.
I remember when I first saw the very first one of those, I was like, what the
I didn't
hell?
know there was.
Yeah.
You know, these like fancy ass outdoor heaters everywhere. I'm going, who the hell can afford that?
Right.
I mean, and yet now they're all over the place, and now they're even outdoor air conditioners, and it's like, what? And so, I mean, that was just one of the ironies there. I mean, I think the whole global warming thing's a scam, and I think that carbon tax is a scam, but a lot of the identified items that they were talking about were items that, in particular, Americans overconsume like mad, and like, it's totally ridiculous that you can have outdoor heaters just going.
But you don't want to regulate it with
No.
taxation.
Well,
That's where I have
That-
issues with sin tax, like cigarette tax, and they always are tax on alcohol to reduce consumption. It's just like, let people decide on their own what they want to do.
You're stepping on free enterprise there in some parts. So it's kind
Well, I mean, I think this is a very interesting issue with cigarettes in particular, because of course cigarettes are a psychological and physiologically addictive product. Which, is it free market? Is it free market to addict people and then just extract all the money you can until they die?
In America, it is.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Free market, right? I mean, so it's like, is a drug
Right.
free market? I mean, is it an addictive drug in
We make
particular?
it
Not
addictive
just a
on
drug,
purpose.
but an addictive drug. Is that a fair product to be
Tim-
unregulated?
there's one thing I really gotta say. That's the best. What you were saying about things that legitimately need to be taxed and reduced. That's the frickin' beauty of the psychological manipulation. Okay, it's the best way to hide a lie is cram it between two truths. Sure, I agree a lot of these things need to be reduced, but I don't believe that I should pay my carbon indulgences to some offshore consortium of screwball bankers.
Right.
So I don't want to have to be a better person at the same time being raped by a bunch of big bankers. And I think that they are taking and hijacking our legitimate concerns of wanting to better the environment and better our world and take a personal responsibility for our world, which is great, but they're using that legitimate concern to screw us.